Okay, in the yesterday's session, we worked on table with data elements and we created foreign key relationships for the fields in the table. Okay, and we have created check tables, one for employee master data and the other for department master data. And we created a separate table to link employee and department. So we assigned foreign key relationship for both fields, employee ID and department, using two different check tables. Each field contains a different check table. Okay. So how we assign the check table? Using foreign key relationship. So what is foreign key relationship? Foreign key relationship is used for field level validation. So it is to create or establish relationship between two different tables. Okay. Here we use check table to create the foreign key relationship. The prerequisites to create the foreign key relationship is the data element for the foreign key table field and check table field should be same, and the field should be a primary key in the foreign key, sorry, check table. The field should be a primary key in the check table. Okay, that field may or may not be a primary key in the foreign key table. Okay, so this is the table we created yesterday, and we created the foreign key relationship with for employee ID. What is the check table? The demo employee. For foreign key, what is the foreign key table? This current table is the foreign key table. Okay. For department ID, the demo DEPT is the check table. Whatever the entry is available in this department master data should be available to enter here in this table. Okay. Clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Now we have assigned a foreign key, right, for this employee ID and department ID. Now let me create one more table. Let's say underscore T, some, please assume it as some temporary table. Continue. Now I am just taking same fields. I clicked on Control Y. When I clicked on Control Y, you can observe this symbol. To copy, like this, you can drag and copy field name and data element. When you click on Control Y, Control V, I'm making it as a key field, both. Maintain the technical settings, save and activate. Now let's create some entries. Now what is our expectation? So what is this table? A new table, right? We created a new table and we are using same fields, same like this one, the previous example. So now when we are creating the entries, can we enter any employee ID, a random employee ID?
Yes, sir.
Can we enter any department name? Maybe like this, some junk value. Is it going to allow?
No, sir.
Is it going to allow any value in employee ID, any character value, which is not available in the employee master data? Is it going to allow?
No, sir.
Okay, what I did, I just created a table, provided the fields and activated the table. I did not create any foreign key relationship, right?
It will act.
Yes, sir.
Relax.
Did I create the foreign key relationship? No. It's a different table. Please observe. It's a different table. I did not create any foreign key relationship for any of these fields. So there is no validation. There is no field level check for these two fields in a different table. So you can enter anything here. Okay. Even if you can observe, if you observe, you can't see this F4 option when I place the cursor, right? Clear? So when you create a table, if you want to add field level validations, what is required for the for each table? For you have to assign a
Foreign
foreign
key.
key relationship. Okay, it is table specific. Okay, it is table specific. If you apply foreign key relationship in one table, that's not going to be available in another table, even if you are using the same employee ID field in other tables. Okay, wherever you are using this employee ID field, you have to assign foreign key relationships. Let's say this employee ID field available in 100 tables. So how many times you have to create foreign key relationship? 100 times. For each table, you have to create that foreign key relationship. Okay, clear? It is specific to the table. Okay, not to the field. We are applying to the specific table field. Okay, that property is not going to be applied for the field. Is everyone clear? Let's take one field. Let's go to the standard table. Mara. Mara is a material master table. Place the cursor on the field. Place the cursor on the field. And this one, you can see this symbol, right? This is where used list. By using this, what you can find? By using this where user list, you can find wherever this field is using the references for this field. Where this field is using, place the cursor and click on where user list. We have programs. It will display many results. Or let's try data element. Double click on the data element and let's try where user list. Select the table fields. So these are all the tables. These are all the tables where this material number is being used. There are 2952 tables where this material number is being used. Okay. So let's click on any random table. Here, field name is different. Okay. They are using it as material. I'll explain why they use this kind of field names. Okay. Instead of Matner in few tables. Okay. So here, what is the data element? What is the data
Matner.
element of this field? Matner, right?
Matner.
Yeah, data element is same. Now let's check the foreign key relationship for this field. Click on this. There is no foreign key applied. Okay, because they think that foreign key is not necessary. Field level validation is not necessary for this table. Okay, conditions table. That's why they did not apply foreign key relationship. So that you can enter any material number here. Okay, it won't restrict. It won't validate the value. Okay, let's check some other table. EKPO is there. What is EKPO table? EKPO is related to purchase order data. It is purchase order item data. Okay, double click. So in EKPO table, we have a Matner field, material number field here. Now check here, is there a foreign key relationship or not? There is a foreign key relationship, right? In EKKO, for material number, foreign key relationship is available. So that it will validate. Before entering the material number, it will validate. Is it a valid material number or from which table it's going to validate? Where it is going to compare that value? Check table.
Mara table.
Check
Mara
table.
table.
Yeah, Mara table, and which is a check table for this field, Matner field, material number field. Okay. So that the entry should be available in Mara table before going to use here in this table because the foreign key relationship is established. Correct? So here what we are doing depends on the requirement. We are assigning foreign key relationships. Okay. Let's check what is the other table we have discussed? Value table, right? Now let's look into that value table concept. We are going back to domains. Okay. Domain level validations. This is a very important interview question. Okay. In general, in every interview, what is the most common question? What is the difference between check table and value table? Okay. Simply remember check table is at field level. Okay. Field level using foreign key relationship, right? We're going to assign check table using foreign key relationship. It is a field level validation. Now, what is value table? Value table is domain level validations. How can you assign a value table? Assign Here this one we assign at the domain level. Now wherever you use domain, wherever you use this domain name, right? This validation will be automatically applied. If you assign a value table in the domain level, wherever you use this domain, that domain level validation will be automatically applied. Okay. It will also act as F4. F4 means search help to list of possible values. Okay. Provides list of possible inputs for the field. Okay. Clear? So if you are using check table, in each table, wherever you want to apply validation, you have to create a foreign key relationship. But when it comes to value table, once you assign this value table in the domain, right? If you just use the domain in any of the tables, the field level, whatever the entries available in value table, only you can select those entries. You don't need to create a separate foreign key or any relationship. If you just use the domain, wherever you are creating a new table with that specific field, that validation will be automatically applied. And let's see how it works. Let me delete this table, temporary table which I have created. We'll create again. Okay. Now create. Now first we'll check the fields. Okay. So first let's take employee ID field, employee ID or department field. Let's take department field. Go to the domain level, go to the domain of this department ID. Here if you observe, what is this option? Value ranges option. In value ranges, you can provide possible inputs. What are the possible inputs for this domain? Wherever you are using, wherever you are referring to this domain, so these possible inputs will be applied. Okay. For example, single values. Single values are nothing but when we use single values, for example, to maintain the weeks, list of possible weeks or for gender. Okay. For example, I'm going to fix some values here. SAP and Java. Okay. Activate. I'm activating the domain. Please observe. Okay. I've activated the domain. Now let's create a new table. Create. I've deleted it, right? Oh, maybe. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Create here. What is the delivery class? A. Maintenance allowed. Go to the fields and maintain the fields. Employee ID. CDMO employee ID. Make it as a key. If you want to use any other fields, that's your choice. Okay. For example, if you want to use some uh, point of contact, Spock for this employee ID and department. So it may not be a primary key. You can just use, I'll use some char 30, some data element. Okay. It is a generic data element. Okay. If you want to use any number of fields like that, depends on your requirement. Maintain the data class, size category, save, go back and activate. Now go to the table contents, create entries. Okay, can we enter any value in employee ID? Is it going to restrict? Is it going to validate my value? I've created a new table and I did not create any foreign key relationship. Is it going to restrict my values?
You can enter any value.
I can enter any value. Yes, I can enter any value. Let's go to department ID. It is showing F4 help, right?
Yes, sir.
And what are the values it is displaying?
Java.
Java. Why only Java? It should display SAP also. So from where this value is coming from? From where this value is coming from? We did not assign any foreign key relationship, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is coming from domain. Okay. So this is coming from domain. We have used some fixed values, right? In this domain gdemo dept value ranges. So okay, looks like SAP got deleted. So there is only one value here. So that's why it is showing only one value. Okay, from where it is coming from? Domain value range. Domain value ranges. These possible entries are populating, right? Let's add a few more entries. Okay, now I've added two other values. Now how many of, like, whatever the values available in domain, it is populating here, right?
Yes, sir.
So from where these values are coming from? Domain level. Okay, we did not create any foreign key relationship, correct? So let
Yes,
me
sir.
let me enter any other. We did not find the match. Let's try saving it. 400 SP Spock is some 200 is the Spock for this relation. What it is saying? Enter a valid value. It is not allowing this value because it is not available in their domain, right? It's not available in this jet demo department ID domain. From where are we using this domain? In this data element, right? Jet demo department ID data element, we are using this domain. If you use this data element, if you use this data element in any table, this domain level validation will be automatically applied. You don't need to create any explicit or any foreign key relationship. Okay, clear? Once you assigned this value ranges in the domain level and added that domain to a data element. And if you are using the data element in any table to create the table field, that field domain level validation will be automatically applied. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Now let me create one more table. I'll delete this. Some table I'm creating. It's a different table. Here I need to use a department ID. I'm assigning the data element. Department name I'm assigning. I'm taking some char 30 again. It's a generic data element. Okay, and few other fields if you want. Go to technical settings, save. Okay, activate the table. Go to the entries. Now, did I do anything? Did I create any relationship? Oh, by automatically these values are populating from domain. Wherever you use this department ID field, whatever the values configured in the domain, those will be automatically populated. Okay, is everyone clear on this?
Yes, sir.
Now, so this is the data element. So please observe, we are not going to use domain when we are creating in the table, right? We are not going to enter the domain name, right? We are enter the data element name, and the domain is already configured in the data element. Those properties will be automatically applied. Okay, so we don't directly enter domain name anywhere. We always refer data element. Okay, now go to the domain, go to the value ranges. Now here I have provided some fixed values, right? So I've created this domain and some tables and I transported it to production. Later, after some time, there is a requirement to add new departments. What you need to do? In future, if there is a requirement to add new departments, what you have to do? You have to open the domain in development system, change it, and you have to add more departments, right? And save and activate, and you need to transport this change to test and then to production, right? There are any new departments, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that is a additional overhead. We are unnecessary need to change and we need to transport it to test system and then to production system. If you have an option just to configure in the production system itself, that is better, right? Because we are just adding data. We are not doing any programming, coding or any configurations. We are just adding one more date, one more value to the domain. For this, we need to do the change in development and we need to transport it to production system. So instead of this, if you have an opportunity to just to add that value in the production system itself, that is easy, right? This development effort is not required. For that we use value tables. Okay. For that we use value tables. So instead of fixed values or intervals, we can use value tables so that we can just add the entry to the value table. Okay. You don't need to change the domain every time. Now let's observe one more thing. So we have seen fixed values, right? Let's see how, let me delete this. Let's see how intervals will work. Intervals are like this. Uh, Usually we don't use it for character type data because it's for ranges. Lower limit 100, upper limit 200. I can take one more limit, one more lower limit 300, upper limit 400. Okay. So these are the department numbers should be allowed. That's what my condition here. If I use intervals, let's go to the table and check. Domain is activated. Okay, we deleted. Let's create a table again. Allowed fields. Let's take department ID as a domain, sorry, data element, and this data element already contains a domain. Now, what are the domain level values available? 10 to 200 and 300 to 400. Let's try 101. It is allowing, right? In between this range. Let's try 201. 201 should not be allowed ideally, right? Because the range is only from 100 to 200 and 300 to 400. It should not allow 201, right? 201 to 299. It should not allow, right? And it should allow only from three values between 300 to 400. Okay. As per this domain values, so this field should allow only values between 100 to 200 and 300 to 400. It should not allow any other values. Okay. If you try 401, it should not allow because it is out of the range, right? Clear?
Yes,
So,
sir.
so this is like when we use when we have a range of values. Okay. Usually we don't use it for domain kind of things. Okay. For example, you can use it for months 1 to 12. You can restrict month numbers from 1 to 12. If there is a field called month, okay, you can enter like this 1 to 12 so that user cannot select months beyond 12. Okay, clear? Now let's go to the value table. So we can configure a table here so that if we need any new entry, we can enter we can create the data in the table itself. We don't need to change the domain. Okay, domain is a development thing, right? A developer has to change the domain and activate. So instead of doing that, we can configure a value table and we can add that value in the production system itself. So what is the suitable value table for department ID? Any master data table which contains department data. Okay. So what is the department master data table? What is the department master data table? This one, right? ZDemo DEPT. This is the department master table we created. Correct? Let's assign it as a value table. Check. Fixed values, lower limit. Okay. I think there are some blank values. Where is this? Let's delete. Okay. Because there is a blank value. I've just removed the values. So save, check, activate. Go back to the table. Create entries. Why is there no entries in ZDemo DEPT? It is showing blank. Entries. There are 7 entries. Ideally, this value should be displayed here. Let's open the table again. It is overwriting something. Did we delete all single values and everything, including spaces? Yeah, if you observe here, there is one blank value. Instead of deleting, right, we removed the value. We did not delete this entry so that this blank value is there in the domain. Okay, let's delete this. That's why it is overwriting that value table entries with these fixed values. Now let's check create entries. But is that value table there? Still there? It is there. So domain is active. Let's try creating some data. SAP should be allowed. SAP ABAP should not be allowed, but it is creating. Ideally, you should be able to see all the entries in this value table here as a F4 help, just like these fixed values or value ranges. So I'll check that. For some reason, it is not working. Otherwise, it should display that as a F4 help in the create entries. Okay, instead of creating these fixed values and value ranges, range of intervals, you can use a value table. Okay, in value ranges you can configure it as a value table. Now when you configure it in the value table, let's try to create the foreign key relationship. In this table, let's try to create the foreign key relationship. Please remember, value table is added. What it is saying, I've selected the field and click on foreign key relationship. What it is saying, foreign key does not exist. Create a proposal with value table. So it is automatically suggesting a suitable check table for this, because we have already added a value table. It is suggesting the same table as a check table, right? Yes, I'm not doing anything, just copy. Okay, so when you have added value table, it is automatically identifying the suitable foreign key relationship, right? Clear? So it is automatically assigned a foreign key relationship when you added the value table. You don't need to enter the check table name and you don't need to find the check table name. Okay, so if you guys are clear on this, so we'll see one more topic, that is client independent and client dependent data. So any questions here? Okay, let's go to the next topic, that is client independent data and client dependent data. Client independent, client dependent. So what is client independent and client dependent? So the client independent data means the data which you created in one client can be visible in other clients also. Okay, in the starting sessions we have discussed, right? What is a client? Client is a logical partition, right? If you log in into one client and create some data in a table, can you see the same data in different client number? What is the client we logged in? We log in using client number 800 and we created some data here in the tables. So if I log in with a different client number, can I see that data in the same table? Can I see whatever the data created in client number 800 in the different client?
Yes, sir.
If it is a client independent data, you can see that in any client. But if it is a client dependent data, what do you mean by client dependent? So the data which you created in client number 800 should not be visible in client number 801. That is what? Client dependent data. So it is specific to the client. Other clients should not access that data. That is called client dependent data. Okay. What is client independent data? The data which you create in the table can be accessible to all the clients. Okay. That is client independent data. So the data which you create in the table, which should be accessible to the specific client in the same client, wherever you created the data, that is client dependent data. Is everyone clear on these two terms? Client independent data and client dependent data. Client independent means you can see that data in any client in the same server, but not in the different server, in the same server. Okay. So we are using this 2021, right? If you create some data in a table in client number 800, the data can be visible for the other clients of this 2021 server also. Okay. That is client independent. What is client dependent? If you create some data in 2021 server in client number 800, that data should be specific to that client, should not be visible to the other clients. So what we call that property? Client dependent. Okay, that is client dependent. Now I'm saying that we can have client independent or client dependent data. How can you define it? How can you make that as a client independent data, and how can you make that as a client dependent data? Simply by using, let's create a table.
Lock object.
No, by using client number. Okay, simply use client number. For example, create one table T. Okay, it's already there. Let's delete it. Delete the data. Create the table. Allowed. Go to the fields. And you might have some remaining fields, rest of the fields. I'll show you one thing. So now let's tell me, is it a client independent table or client dependent table? We have only one primary key, that is department ID. So this is a client independent table. So whatever the data you created in this table, right? This data can be visible in all different clients of the same system. Okay. Other clients also can access this table data. Whatever the data you created here, whatever the departments you configured here. Okay. What type of table it is? Client independent or client dependent?
Client independent.
Client independent. Now let's make it as a client dependent table. Delete this table and create again. Create. Go to the fields. Now the mandatory rule or the mandatory thing to make it as a client dependent table is the first field of the table should be MA and DT. MA and DT is nothing but data element is also same, MA and DT. Okay. What is MA and DT means? Client number. Okay. What is MA and DT?
Client number.
Client number. Now and then rest of the fields, whatever the fields you want. And see, this one we have to select it as a primary key. MA and DT should be the first field of the table and it should be a primary key. Okay. That doesn't mean that you don't need to select other primary keys as per your business data. No, you have to select primary key as per your business data. Okay. Activate. And if you want other fields, you can add just like department name or something, whatever you want. So save, technical settings. Here when I am creating this client dependent table, a pop-up is missing. A pop-up is missing. That is visible for the client independent table. When I am maintaining the client independent table, that pop-up is visible. But now that pop-up is not available. Now, so whatever the data you created in this table, in this current client, this data is specific to this client. Can any other client access this data? A different client can we access the same table data in different client, whatever we created in the client number 800? No. So whatever the data we created in this current client 800 can be accessible for the 800 only. If you log in into the different client, table is available. This table metadata is available. You can see this table and you can see all this field, but the data you cannot access. Only you can't see the data. Okay. The data records are not available. Whatever you created in client number 800. Okay. The records what you created in the current client, only those records will be available. Okay. Clear?
Yes.
So that is called client independent and client dependent tables. It is also very important interview questions. Okay. So how can you say that a table is a client dependent table?
That mandate.
Yeah, a table that contains MA and DT or a mandate as a first field of the table is called the client dependent table. So it allows you to access data only in the specific client wherever you created. The same data is not going to be available in different clients. Okay. If we don't use MA and DT, what kind of table it is?
Client independent.
Client independent table. So in any client you can access that data. Okay. Let me delete it and create again because it will show you some pop-up message. Key field, I'm not using the MA and DT. Click on save, saving it. What it is saying? It is showing some information. What it is saying? Specify a client specific application table. So, so any application table, what is the recommendation? Any application table is recommended to be a client specific. Okay, client specific in the sense it is good to have a MA and DT field. Okay, all the application tables should contain MA and DT table, MA and DT field. That is recommended. Okay, that's not mandatory. Okay, so going forward, we'll try to use MA and DT field in every table. Okay, is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
So let's try one thing. So I'll make first field as MA and DT. What is the basic requirement for any table? At least one primary key is required, right?
Yes, sir.
Now let's try adding employee data, and I'm not making it as a primary key. Is it going to allow me to activate? Check, activate. Let's check how it works. So it's allowing me, okay? But in ECC system, I observed that this is not going to be allowed. Someone locked it. Okay, but usually this is not the proper way of creating the table. Your business data, your application field also should be a primary key. Okay, don't don't make it only MANDT as a primary key. Your application field or your whatever the field you are using in the business, right? That should be also a primary key. Okay, don't consider MANDT as a primary key. Never consider MANDT as your primary key. Okay, so it is just to make the table as client independent or client dependent. Okay, that's not a primary key field. Okay, the actual primary key is your application data field. Okay, that might be material number, employee ID, whatever. Okay,
Okay.
so what are the maximum number of primary keys allowed for a table?
16.
16. Yes. Shall we try? Shall we check that? Whether is I too don't know. Like let's check. I'll do one thing. Can we have same field name in the same table? Duplicate field names in the same table? Is it allowed to have same name multiple times in the same table?
No.
No, field name should be unique. Okay, you should not use duplicate field names. Stop the transaction. Think it because it will take too much time to complete this. So anyway, so what are the maximum number of primary keys allowed? 16. Yeah, any other questions or doubts? Please let me know. So this is so check tables, value tables, client independent, client dependent data. Okay, these are all very important interview questions. Definitely you'll get that question. Okay, may not you there are two types of interviews, right? One is uh, one is at the time of recruiting you by some company. That will be intense. They'll ask in detailed questions, starting from data element, domain, and everything. But if you goes to the client round of interviews might be different. When you have joined in any company, okay, when they have scheduled you the client interviews, right? That is not that much in detail like the initial technical rounds. Okay, the client interviews are generally they'll ask for what are all the types of projects you worked and what is your experience in SAP, right? What are the domains knowledge you have? So they expect that one. So only few of them, very rarely. So this client side interviews will be more technical. Okay, they'll ask more technical questions starting from this one tables, select statements, these kind of things. But in general, client interviews are very like they'll ask questions related to the functionalities whatever you have developed. Okay, so whatever the domain knowledge you have. Okay, they just don't ask for what is data element and what is domain. Okay, they'll ask for the applications whatever you have developed. Okay,
Yes.
as long as there is no some Indian or some Indian employee, then they'll start asking questions. Usually, usual client interviews are very soft. Okay, they'll try to check your communication and what are the functionalities you have handled in the previous projects, like that. Okay, yeah. If you have no questions, we'll continue in the next session.